Okay, hello everyone. Good morning. Please be seated. We are going to start now. So I hope you've been enjoying the conference so far. Today we have a very exciting keynote. I know many of you are interested in Arabic LLMs. I've talked to many of you about this. So I hope you will find today's talk quite exciting. Today we have two amazing speakers. We have Nour Al Hassan and Iyad Ahmad. Let me introduce them. Nour Al Hassan is the founder and CEO of Arabic.AI and Tarjama. She's recognized as a Forbes top tech leader and EY Entrepreneur of the Year. She grew Tarjama into a global leader in language solutions and launched Arabic.AI, the premier enterprise Arabic artificial intelligence company. And Iyad Ahmad is the CTO at Arabic.AI. He's leading innovation with over 25 years of experience. He spearheaded the development of an Arabic LLM that outperforms global benchmarks like GPT-4 on Arabic tasks. So without further ado, please join me in welcoming our speakers.
Just switch to my laptop.
Good morning, everyone. Yes. Can you hear me? Awesome. Thank you so much for having me and having Iyad. It's a great pleasure to be amongst all of you working in AI space, from students to innovators. I'm going to tell you a little bit about our story. Our story is a little bit unique when it comes to the journey on Arabic language and what we have done. So I'm Jordanian. I started my company back in 2008 as a small traditional translation business. And obviously, the dream grew from this traditional translation business to be actually a regional translation company, and then a leader in technology. So we built neural machine translation very early on, machine translation engine for Arabic that was outperforming on benchmarks and evals. And then after that, we decided to build a translation management system called Cleverso. It is the only company that built this software out of the region. For so many people that know languages, and especially translation, they know actually the complexity of Arabic language and how difficult it is to maneuver documents when it comes to Arabic from right to left, left to right, how to work on terminology, how to get dialects right. So this innovation took us into a journey of building technology, and then from technology building AI. So when large language models got launched in 2023, ChatGPT came to life, we said, we've been building in technology from the language space, especially on Arabic, for the past 10 years and maybe more. How do we take our experience and make this into AI? How do we pivot into AI, knowing that we sit on large data sets, and everybody knows proprietary data of high quality that's not online in certain domains is key for any successful LLM today that we see. We're a startup, so we don't have the luxury of spending billions of dollars on compute or on the science part. We have a small, nimble team that's really brilliant, helped us in fine-tuning multiple models in the early days. And then when I remember we did an SLM, 14 billion parameter the first time. I said, if this LLM produces good quality, I'm going to go to market to fundraise. And that's actually what happened. We put the model on Hugging Face. It became #1 immediately on the benchmarks for Arabic. We closed sourced the model and decided to fundraise. And our journey on Arabic.AI, if I want to summarize it and where we're heading and why do we care so much about Arabic, one, sovereign AI is key. Everybody cares about their data, where is their data stored. And innovation needs to come from people that speak the language. So for us, Arabic is not an easy language. It's nuanced. It has a lot of details that not a lot of people will be able to grasp. And honestly, it's an afterthought language from global companies when it comes to innovation. Everything is built first in English or for certain markets that are huge. When it comes to Arabic, you have 420 million people speaking this language. We're already the 4th most spoken language in the world. Online, when we look on data, data is less than 4%, and the quality of the data is not really incredible. So how do we eventually preserve the language? How do we build for a nation that needs Arabic? How do we serve customers and enterprises that care so much about Arabic? No matter how English is key in everything we do, Arabic is still, for government, for everything we do in our lives, is substantial. So what we decided to do, we decided to launch Arabic.AI. We launched Arabic.AI last year. So it's still relatively a startup under our ecosystem. But Arabic.AI, the focus of it is basically how do we solve sovereign AI in Arabic language for enterprises. So we're an enterprise business. We work with large banks, government entities, health sector, enterprises that need to solve complex tasks when it comes to English and Arabic, obviously. So we have the models, and then we have, on top of the models, our orchestrator, all the way to the application. So we decided that we delve deeper with clients. We solve for them specific tasks. We built specific agents to basically focus on solving niche, complex problems for the customers. We're not a company that builds everything. Our niche and focus is how do we maneuver complex issues in Arabic language from voice to speech to text into multiple areas for enterprises, whether it's banking, financial sector, and government entities mainly. And recently we have, because of obviously benchmarks still matter for customers to know where do you rank? Like when you say you're building something in Arabic and your model is great, how do you say my model is actually really the right model? Everybody knows that we have lots of benchmarks that are already available. We decided to team up with Helm, part of Stanford, and launch a leaderboard for Arabic. And it was just published actually late December, so we didn't really officially announce it yet. It should go to media next week. And our model became, actually, when they ran the testing, #1 against almost all models that you can imagine in the world. For us, this is success. Doesn't stop there. We believe models are part of the story, not the whole story. We know that models, big companies spend so much money on models, and this innovation will continue to shift, change, cost will drastically drop. But for us, as much as possible, we try, when it comes to Arabic language, we really want to claim and own that narrative and that story. And to that, I'd like to hand over to our great CTO who's contributing to this great story. He's going to tell you a little bit more technical stuff. He'll do a demo, and hopefully the demo will work. And happy to discuss with any of you later after the session. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Nour, for the introduction. And yeah, I'm happy and glad to be here. So I just want to go over what we've done. And the keynote is misleading a little bit. So I'm going to focus on the technique more. So the techniques and concepts on how to make money out of the large language model and the workflows. So we've built like a real use case that focus on what matters. So you need to know that 99% or maybe more of the users are using just 1% of the large language model capabilities. So large language model capabilities, it's not just about refining text or writing an email and so on and so forth, which is the most what the most people are doing. So the LLM, so we started by fine-tuning the model. So we have the Arabic LLM X and S. X is a larger model, and it leads Helm Stanford chart. It has been launched, as Nour mentioned previously. And then we have the translation management system, where it has a full workflow, right? And lots of features in the loop, and powered, of course, by AI. And we have Ureed, the marketplace, where you can scale in and out the resources easily. So Ureed is the largest service marketplace in Middle East. We have like more than 140,000 freelancers. Ureed, you can, if anyone knows what Upwork is, so Ureed is the service marketplace in the Middle East. And we have other products like T-Portal, T-Staff, and so on. And I don't need to go into details in these products. So this is how we structure the models that we have. I mean, the verticals that we are working on. So the model layer, which is the models, the Arabic.AI LLM, the agentic AI platform, where you can build workflows, right, and add connectors, connect to LLMs, other models, not just LLM. Could be vision model, speech model, any other model, and tools sometimes, right? So the tooling are very important. And one of the tools that we've integrated here, a Hijri calendar or Hijri calendar tool. So you know Hijri is not easy to get easily the Hijri date, right? So it varies. And if you say, for example, today is 26th of January, it might be other dates. I mean, it's not easy to map between Miladi and Hijri. And the application. And I'll demo some of the application so you feel how valuable the agentic workflow and the application layer on top of the LLM. I'll skip this. You've been late, so that's why we're trying to rush it, so we don't, because we don't have much time. So what are the limitations of the LLM? So the first one is the stateless interaction. So each request is handled independently. Sometimes it can take the context from the previous conversation. However, if there is like a full workflow, you need to guide or guardrail the model in order to do specific tasks. That's why we call it stateless, still. So that's why you need to build an agentic workflow on top of it, or workflow automation and application with some hybrid rule-based and automatic workflow in the loop. The broken workflow, so multi-steps tasks. I'll show a demo. That's why I just thought to have my laptop to present from. This is. Let me just make sure that stop sharing. Share again. Entire screen. Start mirroring. Yes. Let me just exit. Now, here it is. So this is an application layer. This is to handle customs clearance, right? So anyone works in, knows what custom clear broker is doing. They get like 4 or 5 pages. Could be invoicing, packing list, Saber certificate, a certificate of origin, and they need to submit the clearance. So I'll give an example here where we've uploaded 3 documents. Every document has its own structure, and every manufacturer, they just produce some sort of documents based on their standard. Hopefully it will load. It should load. Let me try it. في مشكلة بالconnection. Again. Let me log in. So there are like 53 items. It gives you some indication about the weight item ratio, which is a good indicator, and it lists them all here where you can edit. Plus, it maps the correct Arabic name and something called the HS code. So this is an example where the user may take from 2 to 4 days to fill in, right? And it can be done now in minutes. Of course, we give the edit in the loop. So behind the scene, there are multiple models working together and some API calls, right? In order just to get this. Eventually, the user will submit an Excel sheet, looks like this, right? So imagine the user needs to fill all of these manually, right? And this is what has to be submitted to the customs. So here, where the value is, of course, the most important KPI is the effort and the time to submit. So this is an example of how the workflow works. Sorry. So many screens, so many tabs. Sorry about it. So the goal persistence actually follows. So this slide about the reality, right? So reality is broken, unfortunately. So if scale is the game, then hyperscaler would win, right? And they are winning, of course, all the time. But hyperscaler are focusing on gigantic general model. It doesn't have specific task in the loop. So if you go after specific task, the accuracy will be better, right? So the guardrails, the prompts, the verification, you will make sure that the answer is correct and there is a purpose out of your model or your workflow. Of course, capital sets ceiling. You know, also people like Google or Microsoft, they have deep pockets. So they can spend in GPUs the way they want. Now, in our case, we search for hyperscalers and we buy GPUs just in order to reduce cost because we sell a startup and we have limited budget. True? So here we need, the infrastructure sets the limitations. Leaderboards, big models excel in general leaderboard. However, in Helm Arabic, which is the Helm leaderboard from Stanford, we come first and fifth or sixth. Because the LLMX, we score number 1, the smaller model, which is the one that we are running on production, to be honest. We don't run LLMX because of the budget, of course. So the LLMX is 200 billion parameter. The smaller model is 30 billion parameter. So, and it comes on the 6th place. Tamam. How do we fix the reality? By automation. So the reality is broken, but automation will fix it. We automate everything, right? From DevOps automation, cookie cutter, I'll talk about it later. So DevOps automation, I don't know how technical you are, but we automate everything in DevOps. So we use, of course, open source technologies like Jenkins, Terraforms, Argo CD, and of course we use clusters in deployment for scalability and resiliency. So I just want to show you an example of a DevOps, for example, Jenkins pipeline. This is an This is a Jenkins pipeline, for example, right? So here, we start, of course, by cleaning up the images. We go to get Docker, or we get the app code. We build, then we run some testing, push to the Docker ACR, or the container repository, deploy, and then it will launch. So any change we do on a source code, you just need to run the build, right? And everything will automatically happen. If any crash happen, the console log will show you where is the issue, right? So this is an example of DevOps automation. And I urge you all, of course, to use these tools. So we use these tools in order to make it easy for us to deploy. Otherwise, we will struggle in every deployment. So we have like, in any service that we launch, it will be like minimum 50 to 60 microservices. If we don't have them listed and organized in an automatic deployment tools, I mean, it will be a headache. Whenever we need to launch something, 90% it will fail. Or we need to troubleshoot on production until it's steady, right? Cookie cutter. Anyone heard about cookie cutter? No one? You're missing a lot. So everyone is using, I know that every one of you is using like vibe coding, right? So vibe coding could be Cursor, Claude Code, or any other model. Cookie cutter, these tools are amazing, actually. If you don't use it, then use it. You're doing a mistake. You have to do vibe coding. Don't write code anymore. I mean, try to fix it and direct the model how to do it, but use it. So cookie cutter give you a template, and you can set your own design pattern. So if you want to do like event-driven system, right? You want to structure your APIs in a way differently, your standard. So software engineering is subjective. Everyone has his own or her own way of building things, right? So cookie cutter can set this norm. So all of our company is vibe coding. In order to set the standard, we build cookie cutters. Cookie cutter, our own cookie cutter template. So anyone want to vibe code, they have to start here. We can avoid launching bloated API. Or sometimes we call them big ball of mud, whereas just one API that has thousands of lines, right? So it will set the design pattern correctly. So cookie cutter is very important if you're doing vibe coding. Of course, there are so many other templates, and you can build your own. Actually, in our case, we built our own. We called it cookie cutter, by the way, because we got the inspiration from cookie cutter itself. Automate workflow evaluation. You build a workflow to do specific tasks. The norm, or previously, we used to give it to normal QA in order to do the quality assurance, which is not bad, right? But you would never expect what the model would answer. It's generative AI, right? So you would never expect. It may answer you today correctly. After a second, it may do give you a wrong answer. That's why you need to automate the workflow evaluation. We have it part of our agentic AI platform. If you change the prompt, how do you guarantee if it goes to production, it won't fire back? That's why we have an option. Whenever you change any prompt or any step in the workflow, you just click Run Evaluation. It will read the agent card. It will synthesize questions based on another model, not just our model. And usually we use Gemini, not because Google is sponsoring, but actually I'm in love with Gemini, to be honest. And it's fast. It's fast. It's cheap, to be honest. I mean, it's way cheaper than any model in the market, way cheaper. So, and we care about budget, as I always mention. I'll keep saying this all the time. So Gemini will synthesize, or let's say the LLM, it doesn't matter. We use Light LLM as a proxy, so you can plug in any model in the loop. So Gemini reads the card, the agent card, synthesize question, build the ground truth, run it automatically on the workflow, and give you sometimes like rubric scoring at the end. So here is the rubric scoring. You're scoring, for example, 4.8 from 1,000 questions. If I said any terminology that you're not aware of, please let me know. And I'm aware that most of the audience are techie or into AI. So the evaluation demo, I'll show just a quick demo how it works. Admin, the password. This is how the team is doing this. You missed the password. So anyway, so this is an automatic, this is a platform that automatically can evaluate a RAG agent. RAG, I know like lots of people saying like RAG is dead, but I'll show some example that it's not so far, and it is needed, and you need to do RAG in so many cases. So for example, this is a knowledge base where you can upload it. We compare ourselves with the state of the art. So we use Pinecone as a for vector storing. To compare our vector store, which we use like an open source, could be Vespa, Weaviate, PG vector, or Redis vector. It doesn't matter, right? So what matters is the embedder. The embedder what matters. So how you vectorize the data inside the vector store. So to compare ourselves with and how the workflow, if the workflow is working correctly, we use Pinecone and Gemini to embed the knowledge base inside Pinecone, right? And then we synthesize the questions. So these are the questions. The model, which is Gemini again, will go over the knowledge base and generate questions. Could be English, Arabic, you set the number. You say, I need like 5 or 10 questions. I mean, from the knowledge base provided. And it generates the answer with the ground truth, right? And then you add your workflow. It's an API call based on our agentic AI platform. So I just add a workflow. I say, yes, to call the workflow, here is the endpoint. So the workflow is connected to our models and our vector store. The vector store is using Arabic.AI embedder or Pronoia embed and Pronoia re-ranker. And then you execute the report and you get this. Literally, the 10 questions take like 1 to 2 minutes to give you the evaluation. If you added more, it won't take much, but it may take hours. But I'm sure if human want to do it manually, they will spend days, right? So imagine you get this evaluation out of the box and even broken down for the English and Arabic questions, but the overall is very important. It gives you the factual accuracy, completeness, clarity, coherence, relevance, and overall score, right? And gives you the answer. By the way, here, Gemini, I'm sure that it did mistake here because our workflow is specifically for one client, right? So Gemini gave, for example, this answer better, but this is a more complete answer, by the way. So that's why building a workflow for specific client will work better if you do it. I mean, you may fine-tune the model, you may set the vector store, and there are like strategy of setting how you build your vector store. Could be hierarchy, right? You may ingest the knowledge base in a different way. I'll show just an example from this output. See, this output gives you citation, for example, and give you which image in the file you can relate. So the knowledge base is not just from the text. It's from the text and a description of the image. I'm not sure if this is clear. So you have, for example, a PDF file, and this PDF file has a user journey drawn. So we get the description out of Pronoia vision or the Arabic.AI LLM vision, and we ingest the description of the image. So when we answer the user, we give the citation, not just the citation as of the file, no. The image in the file from where this information came from. So that's why this is a more complete answer than any other model, right? And yeah, this is how we do the evaluation automatically. Tamam. So the high-level overview. First of all, you build workflows, right? So the workflow consists of start node. There is if, else, LLM connectors in the loop. You may connect to Drive or database in some cases, or tools. Improve, evaluate, then the LLM answer. Why do I say improve and evaluate? The LLM, when it answers, it's predictive. So it starts by giving you the first token, right? And then it starts to predict the second token. Now imagine you get the full answer and you give it as a context to the model again. If you found something wrong with the answer, it will give you better answer. Of course, it will delay a little bit the answer, but if your target is accuracy, it's better to get the full answer, not the streamed one. So streamed answer is for the user experience. Imagine if you're using OpenAI and you ask a question, it will start to stream the answer. It's for the user experience, so you don't wait until the last token, right? However, it's predictive. If you take the same answer and give it as a context, you will get better one. So that's why if accuracy is the target, get the full answer and feed it again to the model as a context, you will get better answer. I'm not sure if you do like really a workflow that solves a problem, you will face this. So that's why this technique is very important. But then, you can have MCP in the loop to do an action. So workflow could call an API, call an email, send a Slack message or Teams message or WhatsApp message. So that's why the real agent, they call them the React. React, not the front-end framework. No, it's reasoning and action. So you need a good model in reasoning, and the workflow should take an action afterward. So evaluation, you did the workflow. It's fine to do manual evaluation, but eventually if you don't do automatic evaluation, you will face lots of hallucination, especially if you're using smaller model. So if you're using 30 billion parameter or 9 billion parameter models, the probability of hallucination is a lot. So that's why automatic evaluation is very important. You can synthesize thousands of queries, send them to the model, have another model to judge, and then generate the evaluation. Build application, we always do vibe coding. I gave an example of the templates, which is cookie cutter, and you can build applications in minutes. And trust me, it's clean code, clean architecture. They are service, yes. I'm wrapping up. I'm aware about the, it says 12 minutes. Okay, I'm almost there. Just few things here. This is very important. Software engineering tips. I'll focus on the product right and this is right product and product right. What does it mean? If you are in the product industry, department, you start with building the right product, so your audience, right product, and now you can ship fast the MVP. We saw how the vibe coding can support you in shipping products. So we build the right product, and then we build it right. If you're using templates, you will build it right from the beginning. I mean, the coding is right, the infrastructure is right, it's microservice ready. There is a messaging bus. You take care about the caching, the speed, the performance, everything. We'll focus on value. So 2/3 of ideas produce 0 or negative value. So make sure to fail fast. It's a methodology where you ship fast, fail fast, or succeed fast, inshallah. I guess no need to continue. I guess we can open it now for questions, because this will take more time than I expected.
Okay, so you want to open the floor for questions? Oh, yes. Sorry. Yeah, please, if you could just walk to the podium. Yeah, we have 2 mics, on the left and the right, please. Okay. Sorry for
No worries. Yeah.
I really have many questions.
Oh, okay.
Thank you so much for the presentation. I think it was really insightful. So I have 2 questions. The first one, you spoke about workflow. So you are building workflow using specific tools like Camunda, for example, or you are you have developed some
Yes.
internal or homegrown workflow
Yes.
software.
Yeah, we have our own workflow software. So just to give you a hint, there are like 3 or 4 agentic workflow very famous, and A10 is the biggest, if you're referring to. There are others, like Agent Core, Google Enterprise AI, Vertex could be. So what we did, we focus on our IP. So we build our own. We use the same component. Of course, we get the inspiration from them. So they are using React Flow as a component to build the workflow. It's a free library. Even we didn't purchase the paid one. So we relied on free. And then we vibe coded the rest with some tweaks in the loop. So yeah, we built our own.
Okay.
It's called Agrid. The sales team hate this, but I don't know. It's a code name. That's why we called it Agrid. It's enterprise AI agentic platform builder.
Nice. And my second question is about how to manage the latency. After all, we need so much time to generate tokens and response from the LLM. So I think it's an important parameter when dealing with online inquiries.
So it depends on the question. First of all, how do you, it depends on the flow or the purpose of the agent. So first of all, how do you deploy the model? Do you use VLLM actually, for example, as an inference framework? So if you're using Olama or VLLM, and how do you set the parameters? How do you shard the question? So VLLM give you this capabilities. The other thing is sometimes speed is very important, of course. Sometimes you may need to quantize if you don't have enough capacity or compute. Or if the task doesn't require the full model, You may do quantization. I'm not sure if you're familiar. So you go with quantization or you use smaller model. So in the workflow, if I showed you, for example, we have a legal agent where it reviews a contract. So you submit a contract. It's like an octopus. So it has like, I don't know, like 50 plus node because we care about the accuracy. And we lower the temperature, so the model is almost dumb. So I don't need the full quantized model. So I'm fine with half precision or even 4-bit in some cases. So I don't need to use the full precision all the time. I can rely on smaller model, 1 billion parameter. That's why actually we integrated with a tool called Bedrock. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Bedrock. So Bedrock, it gives me the agility to select a model, deploy it quickly, and then select the model on the fly. But we avoid it in so many cases because we're trying to be cloud agnostic as much as possible. Actually, we are cloud agnostic.
Thank you.
Anytime.
So thank you very much for this nice presentation. I'm over here. I just want to ask about this vibe coding. You seem to be strongly advocating it. Are you, first question, advocating it in general or just for these types of applications? And the second one would be, what do you foresee is the macro trend, like when it comes to vibe coding? How will this influence how, let's say, developers work in general over the next few years? Because there are two schools. Some say this is the future, and the others say it's already failing. It would be just nice to hear your opinion.
If you tried it, you will know it's a success. Because what you need to understand is the concept. I mean, I faced this within my team. So my team resisted vibe coding from the beginning. And I reached to a limit that you either use it or you're out. So it's faster, it's better. I get the repos from the team, and I compared it with something that I did like zero code, and I found, and I asked questions, evaluate this over that, and it points out the mistakes, right? So here, it didn't define something, or, I mean, lots of errors. So trust me, the code agent is the most successful agent globally. You see Cursor is doing money maybe more than OpenAI, right? You can read, I guess I'm not sure, they are doing like $500 million monthly. I can't confirm the number, so don't quote me. If you quote me, I'll deny. So vibe coding, I mean, to be honest, and I'm in love with Cursor. I'm an engineer. I used to work like on Notepad in 1999. I used to code C or C++ on Notepad. I used to manage memory. When I saw NetBeans the first time, I was shocked. That was in 2004 or 2005. I was shocked. What the hell? And when I saw, for example, Visual Studio Code, oh my God, it's the next. And things it's becoming easier with libraries and open source. When I saw Cursor the first time and I tried it out, it fixed every mistake I'm expecting. If I brainstorm performance, which is the best, I mean, the first thing you need to tackle as a UX is performance, right? It gives you the plan correctly. Tells you where to put the cache. It gives you the right AMQP, for example, or the advanced messaging queue protocol, where to have it, when to cache, when to use Elasticsearch, when to cluster, how the services can communicate with each other. It's impressive.
Thank you very much.
Please use it. Don't listen to anyone else.
Iyad,
thank you for the talk. We'll alternate. Thank you for the talk, and probably Arabic.AI is one of the few regional companies that have like real functional deployments of agentic AI. So really cool to see this. I have two questions related to deployments. So the first one is, how does agency stop, and how do you control it?
Agency?
In terms of how do you bound autonomy? So what do you use
I don't get it. Can you give me an example?
So how do you make sure, so you're using reasoning and there's
Yes.
tool use and all of that stuff, and the agents are acting on their own will, right?
Yes.
So how do you make sure that autonomy is controlled and is...
It's the automatic evaluation and testing. To be honest, we get like the feedback all the time. So in the platform, we log everything and we do evaluation. This is something I didn't dig deep in. As I told you, we cannot predict the answer. So even the automatic evaluation, it might be correct, but at a certain point, it might fail in some cases. So we go to the log and evaluate the log, especially at the beginning. So we are logging everything in a structured way, OpenAI XML standard. So in order to just be able to log and verify the logs, especially at the beginning when we launch.
Okay. So you're not using things like acceptance gates, or you have like time, budget, maybe human in the loop on critical actions?
Yes, human in the loop. That's why whenever we launch at the beginning, we launch on a focus group where they give feedback. And this is part of the log. So, so we cannot rely on a human in the loop all the time.
Okay. So the second question is...
And one more thing. The human will do mistakes. So sometimes they do some thumbs down, and we're sure that it's correct. Right. So that's why we don't listen always to human.
Yes, and we only have 1 minute left. If we could, give them the chance to ask. Yes, sir, we only have room for one question.
Okay, don't worry. Thank you, Iyad. Thank you, Nour. It's a pleasure to see Arabic.AI advancing at this level. I'm Marwa. I'm first-year PhD student, and at the same time, I'm co-founder of 2A2I. It's Arabic initiative. Our goal is to open source models and also collecting data sets. And
so it's charity. You're not making money out of it.
Yes.
This is...
And my question is, are you planning to extend Pronoia's work for dialects? I mean, for example...
We have like a catalog of models, and dialects actually in the loop. So it can understand Khaliji. We cannot go over every dialect. I mean... Yeah. I'm sure that in Saudi Arabia, there are like 20 plus dialects. In Jordan, we have like 5, and we are like 500,000 people. So everyone is speaking a dialect in Jordan. So we are not going after every dialect. So we say Khaliji, MSA.
So you started with Khaliji?
We have Khaliji, MSA, Levant. We can't tackle Lebanese, for example, and Syrian. Okay. But in certain cases, but of course, we can fine-tune because our model is small, right? Okay. So there is a limitation of training. If the use case is tackling Lebanese, we may go after Lebanese. Are you from Lebanon?
I'm from Morocco. I'm working on Moroccan dialect.
This is tough.
Yeah.
We can't go.
Yeah, it's... Thank you so much.
Thank you for the presentation. Actually, I have a question about the hallucination that you described in your method, actually. I want to know that how your RAG system is successful in reducing hallucination in Arabic context compared to English, actually, and is this method useful for high-risk Arabic documents, like low documents or something like that?
So two things, actually, to go over hallucination. The first one is a technique that I say, because it's a smaller model, it will hallucinate, especially in Arabic. Right? So we get the answer, we run it again if we care about the accuracy more than the speed. The other thing, we may go into something called raft, not RAG. Raft is the retrieval augmented fine-tuning. So we fine-tune the model, and then we put it on action, on the retrieval. So here, or the workflow. So here it's not just a general model that is doing this task. No, this model is specifically for this task. So we call it RAFT, Retrieval Augmented Fine-Tuning.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much.
Anytime.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you, Nour and Iyad for the inspiring talk.